manipulative, that she will use people to get ahead, and then she will ditch them at the first available opportunity. As we'll see, she did this to Joe Biden as well. And she will ditch him at first available opportunity as well, too. We know that she is perfectly willing to use the auspices of government in order to achieve particular goals. She's willing to be...
Like, I love that Ben Shabibo just takes something as routine as, like, using the auspices of government to achieve her goals. Now, let's break that down for a second. What he's just saying is that she has goals and a political ideology, and as a government official, she's going to use the government to, you know, do what the government fucking does. What you are doing is just basically describing the primary function of the government. But because of the tone of voice, and the words that you're using, you're trying to make it seem like it's a big, scary thing. You're trying to use the auspices of government to do, like, what? Govern? Is that what the fuck you're saying right now? Anyway.
Authoritarian in her use of government, and she has threatened to be incredibly authoritarian if ever she became president. During this last campaign, she repeatedly talked about how she was going to overthrow the boundaries of constitutional government. Like, all the time. She said openly that she would give Congress 100 days to act on guns. And then, if Congress did not act on guns, then she would immediately use executive action to act on guns. So this is her openly threatening to violate the Constitution. If Congress doesn't do... There is no clause in the Constitution, by the way, that says if Congress doesn't do what the president wants, the executive branch shall have the power to simply declare the law.
Except that's what Trump has done for the past fucking couple of years, and so did Obama. But it feels like Ben's only against it when Obama does it, and doesn't. I've never really heard him speak out against Donald Trump. Like, it makes no sense. And also, this, like, constitutional argument is so dumb to me. It makes me so angry, because of course it's going to be hypocritical because you don't give a shit when your side does it. But secondly, like, it's subject to interpretation, man. Like, it's silly to act like the Constitution is an infallible, truth-seeking document that, you know, could never be interpreted differently or could not be subject to some changes. We should just abolish the Supreme Court. There is no reason to ever interpret things differently, or there's no reason to ever change. Once something is set in stone as a law, hypothetically speaking, that should be the law of the land. Now, for someone like myself, that seems incredibly silly, but Ben Shapiro is an Orthodox Jew, so maybe he believes that the Constitution should be exactly like the Torah or the Bible or the Quran, I would say, but I don't think he is very fond of Islam. So I guess, you know, dogmas work when it comes to the religion of American civic nationalism as well.
There's nothing in the Constitution like that. But as we'll see, Kamala Harris does not give two good damns about the Constitution, because that's who she is. Here is Kamala Harris in open debate saying that she would give Congress 100 days to act on guns, then she'd just do it herself.
Upon being elected, I will give the United States Congress 100 days to get their act together and have the courage to pass reasonable gun safety laws. And if they fail to do it, then I will take executive action. And specifically, what I will do is put in place a requirement that for anyone who sells more than 5 guns a year, they are required to do background checks when they sell those guns.
Amazing. Amazing. So she's just going to do it herself. And then...
Okay, but just why is that radical? It's not like she's saying we're going to engage in mass seizure of guns across the country and use the police force to do so at the threat of gun violence or at the threat of, like, harm with a militant police state. It is literally one of the most inoffensive technocratic solutions that you could have to a genuine problem in this fucking country. It's also in unison with the opinion of the American people. American people believe that we should have universal background checks. Either you are literally in the pocket of the NRA dollars or big gun manufacturers to be against this point of view, or you are completely oblivious to the reality. 90%, more than 90% of Americans believe in the expansion of background checks in the form of common sense gun regulations, okay? 90% of American people, 75% of card-carrying NRA members believe that we should expand background checks, but the NRA itself does not represent that viewpoint. Do you know why? Because the NRA doesn't represent gun owners, it represents gun manufacturers. So for her to have this like super fucking bare minimum technocratic solution, and like Ben Shapiro to harp on the executive authority point of view rather than the action itself, despite the fact that she literally said, this is congressional legislation, this is Congress, this is legislation that we can pass and we should try to pass, and if it doesn't pass, I'll use the executive order in a similar capacity to Donald Trump has. For him to get so mad at that, instead of addressing the point that she was making, addressing the legislative agenda or the policy prescription that she has to gun violence in this country is run rampant, is of course weaselly as fuck.
When she was asked about this in open debate, right, Joe Biden was like, that's unconstitutional, Kamala. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can't just do as president of the United States. And Kamala Harris is like, well, yes, we can. Hyena-like Joker laugh. Okay, so, by the way, like, I guess it's good that she was cast as VP, because otherwise she would have been the heir apparent for the Joker part. Right? Jared Leto was out already. So in the next Suicide Squad, it would have been Kamala Harris laughing.
Oh, dude, with jokes like this, I'm surprised Ben Shabibo is not, getting a Netflix deal himself. This is like, I guess if he was also on the side of liberals, like, his style of humor is great. It is reminiscent of all of these other really unfunny and untalented cringe libs. I guess technically he would consider himself a classical liberal, right? These jokes are drier than his doctor wife's pussy. Hypothetically speaking, my wife's pussy has never been wet. By the way, my wife's P word has never been wet. P word in this circumstance is, of course, female genitalia.
With that crazy Cesar Romero kind of giggle. Here she was, trying to explain to Joe Biden that the Constitution is hackneyed and no longer matters. And Joe Biden standing there, but I remember the Constitution. I was there when they wrote it. I've been ignoring it for a year. And then he fell asleep. Here, this was from a Democratic debate.
You can't do it by executive order any more than Trump can do things when he says he can do it by executive order. Does the vice president have a point there?
Some things you can, many things you can't.
Let's let the senator answer.
Well, I mean, I would just say, hey, Joe, instead of saying no, we can't, let's say yes, we can.
Let's get constitutional. We got a constitution.
And yes, we can.
Yeah, looking forward to a lot of that. Looking forward to a lot of that. Get ready. You got a lot of that. That crazy laugh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good stuff happening there. So she's an authoritarian who can laugh crazily. So that's exciting stuff. By the way, she also supports packing.
She's an authoritarian who can laugh crazily. Dude, I hate these people so much. I hate these fucking pundits.
In the Supreme Court. So that's good. Definitely somebody who is a pragmatic moderate, according to the New York Times.
The spirit of justice.
Harris told Politico, quote, we are on the verge of a crisis of confidence in the Supreme Court. We have to take this challenge head on. Everything is on the table to do that. So she joined with Beto and Kirsten Gillibrand and Elizabeth Warren, saying that she might consider packing at the courts. She's definitely a moderate, guys. Definitely a moderate.
What? Like, because she says she wants to pack the courts? Like, isn't that literally how Republicans gain votes? Like, that's like the number one thing that Republicans advocate for or say they're gonna. She's radical left, he says.